have a bit of cash, and it was so hard not to spend money. Like, okay, the first month, I obviously didn't do any math or calculations at all. I was just like, yay, money!
I'm rich.
I went to the Dubai Mall. I saw a fountain pen, and I was like, oh. What's the
fountain? I'm very passionate about fountain pens.
I saw this fountain pen. It was 150 dirhams. I'm like,
You treat yourself.
Yeah.
I earned it.
Yeah. I got it, and then that was a hard week for me, man.
Just looking at Studentsera, your connection to youth culture. I'm Jacob, sitting here with my lovely co-hosts Luma and Amina. And today in the studio we have a Mr. Tariq Raouf, who's here to tell us his story from mechanic to journalist and from video games to fiction writing.
Yay!
Have you had the chance to visit Iraq with him?
I have visited it for like 10 days, but I forgot everything about it.
You were younger when you went?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we went to a place called Suleymaniya.
Alright.
Have you heard of Suleymaniya?
Not familiar.
It was pretty nice. It reminded me of Al-Ain because it was all peaceful, and there was a huge massive lake, which I remember. We were just sitting on the mountaintop looking at this massive lake, and when you swim in the lake you feel the fishes just biting you. It's like, that's the one memory I have of it, which was very nice.
Great,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Also, another memory was all the big dogs there.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Now, since you moved from Bournemouth, have you had the chance to get more in touch with your Iraqi heritage in Dubai and UAE?
To be completely honest, no,
Okay.
not at all. But I mean, on the other hand, I have improved my Arabic language because I don't know. It wasn't about being in England or Iraq. It was about I wasn't interested at all to learn Arabic when I was younger. I was like, nah, you know English. And then when I came here and I saw how many people, how many different people there were, and they all speak different languages, and I learned that if you were bilingual and you could speak multiple languages, it will help you later on in life. So I thought, might as well put the effort in and learn. So,
Okay.
I mean, it's still not there yet, but I feel like I'm improving.
Right.
Eventually.
Speaking of languages, I have a funny story.
Oh, yeah.
We were sitting in the reception, and you know how in the TV they have like these videos playing and there's subtitles in Arabic, right? So I was asking him, I was like, what are they saying? And he was like reading it out, and then he was like trying to explain it to me. So I was like, I can read Arabic, and I read it. And he's like, so what do you understand? I was like, nothing. I can just read it. I don't understand it.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on. So do you miss London or being in the UK?
Yeah, I actually do. And just recently I got in contact with a few friends, and my famous auntie Bobby, who've been sending me a lot of voice notes, and it's nice to actually talk to someone back from home. It's very nice. I do occasionally visit. the UK, but it hasn't been consistent. Maybe like once a year or so.
Okay.
Or maybe every few years I'd go once.
Cool.
What about you? Do you visit the States often?
In the pretty much every summer I try to go back.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
from Pittsburgh,
Oh, okay.
Pennsylvania, a little steel mining town. Is Bournemouth like a working class town, or is it mostly like?
I mean, ever since the recession, finding jobs there has been incredibly hard for people, because that's what people tell me who's staying back there. But I'd consider Bournemouth a town, not really a city or anything. It's just a town, countryside, a few farms here and there. It's really beautiful, honestly, because when you go to London, it's so congested, and it's all work, and everyone has that particular mindset. But in Bournemouth, it's more relaxed. You actually walk. One of the things I remember most is we used to never take a car in Bournemouth. From my place, if we wanted to go shopping, we'd walk all the way to the town, which would take maybe 30 minutes. If I wanted to go to school, we'd walk to school, which would take just under an hour, because I don't know, the environment was just so peaceful that you just walk everywhere. You don't have to take a car at all.
Okay. And do you think that's reflected in your personality? You're obviously a very warm person.
I mean, I wasn't always like this, to be honest.
Okay. So it's something that's developed.
I think over the years, through different experiences, I've gained a bit of positivity from this side of my life than from that side of my life. I mean, to be frank, I wasn't that much of a good person a few years back, but after going through certain things, I think that changed my mentality, which I'm actually really proud of, because now I get to think in a way which I didn't think before, and I like to think I'm open-minded, and I like to listen to a lot of people's opinions, and...
Okay. Now let me just stop you there. Bournemouth, do they have a famous resident, like someone like a hometown hero?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the name. Okay, he's actually a famous actor. I'm not into the.
I didn't want to say Daniel Craig, but that's the only one that came to mind.
I think it was Benedict Cumberbatch. I'm not 100%.
Really? Okay, that's
don't quote me on this. Don't quote me.
Okay.
But it's a famous actor. If you Google Bournemouth High School for Boys, there's definitely a very famous actor who came from that school.
Okay.
Wait, didn't Benedict go to like some royal school or
That's
something?
why I said don't quote me.
Because I feel like he went to school with Tom Hiddleston, who went to school with the prince.
I'm not sure. No, but I know someone famous came from that school.
Did you ever try acting?
Acting?
Yeah.
I don't need to do that.
My life is a movie.
No, but he writes though. He writes really well, yeah.
Screenplays or what type of stuff do you like to write?
Okay, at first when I was younger, I used to primarily focus on fictional story writing because I don't. Do you want me to give you my whole life story?
Please.
This is very interesting.
Glasses are off.
It's getting real now.
Okay, just so I don't sweat. Okay, so when I was in primary school, I used to have private tuitions from my aunt. Well, technically she's not my aunt, she's a close family friend.
Is this Aunt Bobby?
No.
This is okay.
This is a different one. This is called Aunt Christine.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, you haven't heard of this one, have you?
I have, you've told me about her.
So, I remember every day after school I'd go to her house, and the first thing that would happen, we'd sit down in the kitchen table, something particularly close to this. She'd get a big glass of orange juice, fill it to the top. And I was a kid, so that looked massive to me. I was like, wow. Then she'd get a plate, she'd get either a donut or a muffin. And like, you know, as a kid, my parents used to not give me this kind of stuff, so I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, because you were so hyper. You still are. You have one candy bar and you're bouncing off the walls.
Anyway, so I think at first, I don't remember the exact routine, but we used to do story reading. She got this really big, nice old English book called Grimm's Fairy Tales, something like
Oh
that.
yeah, I have that.
Yeah, you have it?
Yeah.
Really nice set, bunch of stories that are really lovely. So we used to read that for around half an hour or an hour. After reading that, we'd write a summary on the story we read, and we'd talk in detail about the story. Then, if it was the first day of the week, she would give me a whole list of 20 words in English that I'd have to memorize and learn how to spell and use in sentences. The very next day, I'd have to do all that with the 20 words. So, I don't know, in the beginning, I don't have any bad memories of studying with her, but I'm assuming in the beginning I didn't like it. But then later on, I loved it. That was the best part of my day, was going to study with her and reading the books and writing. And I think that's why I started writing, because I'm in love with it, to be honest. It's really nice, yeah.
Well, Amina is a writer as well. I think that's something that you both have in common is journalism. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about the writing process? How do you psych yourself up to start writing?
Yeah, you're studying journalism.
Yeah.
So are you like specializing in anything particular or just journalism as a whole?
I mean, I'm only in my second semester now.
Okay.
And we haven't primarily focused into the journalism sector right now, because last semester we were more focused on screen production. This semester is my first unit for journalism. It's called Intro to Journalism. It's more focused on researching about story writing and...
I hate research.
Yeah, me too. So, is there any sort of publication that you'd like to work for in the future?
Honestly, none in particular, but I have a goal that I know it's kind of a long shot, but I want to eventually make my own company which involves journalism, screen production, and writing. I haven't really thought about the details that much. It's just a little dream that I have that I might be working on.
It's something to shoot for.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. The cool thing is about Vice. Vice was actually just a punk magazine. It just covered punk magazine in Canada in like 1986. And to see that they've risen and grown so much over 40 years? It seems like a lot, but I mean, when you're working towards your passion, when you're writing, when you're coding computers, when you're Microsoft, and time goes by.
New verbs from Jacob.
But that's amazing.
So what made you take journalism?
Well, funny story, a few years ago, I was in Heritois studying engineering, and I hated it. I hated it so much. It was like, shortly after I dropped out of Heritois and I started working in various jobs, different sectors, just, I guess, finding myself, as someone would call it. And then I went to England to meet my Aunt Bobby, and that's when I had a long conversation with her, and she said, you should just go for your passion, you should just chase it, do something you love. If you do something you love, it won't be work, it'll actually be something.
It's something that makes you happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Because this is something that you invest the majority of your time in too. That's really, any advice that we could give any listeners is to follow your passion, do what you love to do.
Yeah, like how you hated engineering, but like my brother did engineering, but he's so passionate about it. Like, you see him working hours and hours on like the same small thing, and you're like, wow, how are you not freaking out? Like, do you actually enjoy this? He's like, I love it. And like you see, like he keeps like such meticulous notes, and like he has like, a big book full of notes, and like so much, like, so there's so much passion going into it. So I think like whatever you work as, like whether it's an engineer or like a doctor or like a journalist or whatever you do, like, you know, it'd be really nice if you like are genuinely passionate about it.
I also had a friend who was an engineer and he hated it. He didn't know he hated it. He found it difficult. But then he started hanging out with me when I used to go for shooting or when I had a story to cover, and I used to call him along just for fun. And then he saw what I did and he got so into journalism that he dropped out and joined the media the next year.
Wow.
So yeah.
Big influence.
So I was surprised, like we have different floor for different departments. So the third floor is for media and the right side is for computer engineers. So he was mechanical and I was in the other block. So I was walking upstairs and I saw him going in and out of the media room, and I'm like, what are you doing here? He's like, because of you I'm in media now. I'm like, what are you doing
You've done
here?
this to me. Wow.
So yeah.
I think maybe, if I'm not making an assumption, too big of an assumption, I think your love for journalism comes for a love for storytelling.
Yeah.
Is there any stories from your childhood or from your adolescence that really stick with you that you really liked?
I joined journalism not because of storytelling. For that I could write books, but I wanted to help people. So, you know, like, in a way, I actually wanted to join the police force first.
Okay.
But then they were like, you need a certain height and a certain weight, and I'm like, screw you, I'm not doing this. And then I figured that journalism is another way where I can use my writing skills as well as help people. So I thought that's a better thing for me to do. That's why I did journalism. And I got inspired by Tintin.
Okay.
Tintin.
Awesome.
Yeah, I actually wanted to join the military when I was.
What is with you guys? Listen, I'm just finding this
my
out.
parents were just like, no, you're not joining the military. I was like, why not? I want to help my country. They're like, you'll die. That's why.
Wow.
So why did you think?
Join journalism? Honestly, I thought it would be the best way to improve my writing, because I find that I think the journalism sector is really strict when it comes to writing, and even though I think I'm a pretty good writer, I know I could be so much better. So I thought that would be the best way to improve it. And in the meantime, I'd learn various skills to help myself. kind of still.
Oh yeah, you used to work as a mechanic, right?
Yeah, in a garage in Dubai.
How was that experience?
Okay. So when I was after I dropped out of Heritote, like I said, I worked in multiple jobs, right? So my dad hooked me up with a job from a family friend called Ali, and he had a garage in. Okay, do you know the metro station on Murdoch?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So right there, there's a whole bunch of garages. So I worked in a garage called the Classic Car Wagon, which just dealt with classic cars. And if I had the pictures, I would show you like the old Mustangs, the old Mercedes, the Cadillac, you know, the really big, nice Cadillac. And I mean, I was working there for around 6 months. I knew nothing at all about cars, honestly.
Okay.
Like, I'm not one of those guys that sees the cars like, damn, that's S4, 734. That's Numa, she does that.
Yeah, we'll be walking down the street. I was like, oh my, and I give him like the entire spec of it, and he's like, I worked as a mechanic, and even I don't know all this.
So what was it that led you to cars then?
Well, nothing in particular. It's just I wanted to work for someone else other than my dad, because when you work for someone in your family, it's not the same, you know, because there's still some leniency. You're not treated as a normal employee. You get favoritism, which to a lot of people is amazing, right? But I didn't want to experience that. I wanted pure independency, and I wanted to see how it feels to live alone and work for myself and then allocate my budget for certain things. So I got that job and I learned
quite a bit. Okay.
The change, like, honestly, I think that was the starting point of changing my personality, because before that I took a lot of things for granted, but when I was living alone and I earned a salary, I worked six days out of a week. From 6, I had to get up at 6 in the morning, and I'd get home at around 10-ish. As soon as I came back home, I'd have a shower and sleep, and that was my daily routine. I had no social life at all. It was just focused on the work. But at the same time, it was really eye-opening, because you see the scenarios of how normal labourers work, right? You see how harsh their conditions are, so it kind of gave me a different perspective, which I'm thankful for, right?
A sense of empathy.
Yeah, kind of.
Great. So now you've been able to experience Dubai on so many different levels from
Yeah.
education. Has it increased your work ethic when it comes to
Oh
school?
yeah, definitely. I mean, before working, to be frank, I used to skip a lot of school days, and I'd just go downstairs play basketball.
Okay.
Legit, my parents would drop me at school. I'll just walk around.
Shoot some moves.
I'll just play the whole damn day.
Okay.
And then, even when Harry taught, I'd do the same thing. I'd just play basketball, which is kind of a bad thing, you know, like if we're talking about it. But as soon as I worked in the garage, like, I was like, okay, I really want to study, I want to do this, I want to focus on this. I actually want to get this far in life. I don't want to do this. I don't want to, like, you know, you actually have a perspective, you have different ambitions and goals. So I think that's what changed me, to be honest.
Right. You take education for when you work a labor job or anything labor intensive, you really get an appreciation for education, and that's really, really important. Like, I work at a cafe part-time, and one of the security guards was Nepali, and he came up to me and said, so you study and work? And he was like, that's really good for you. He said, I was thinking about studying, and he said, how much does it cost for your fees? I was like, cool. So I went to my college and got an estimation of the fees and everything. And for me and for my family, it seems relatively affordable. But then for this guy who's probably 3 times as passionate as education as I was, he probably couldn't afford it with his salary and everything. So moments like that, moments where you connect with someone that, you know, isn't as fortunate as you, then you realize you should take things for granted.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that was a very eye-opening experience.
So you talked about allocating budget when you started living alone. So what did you learn from that, and how did you go about doing it?
Well, okay, before I used to, even now, to be honest, I still have a money spending problem. Whenever I get money, it's just like,
Right.
like I have to spend it as soon as possible. So, but when you're working and you, okay, I'll just give you the real example. I got 1,500 dirhams for a month, working 6 days and ridiculous hours. So I'd have to straight away, as soon as I get the budget, I have to put 600 dirhams away for RTA, which is metro and the bus. then I'd have 200 dirhams for the phone bill, then I think 500 for food supplies for the whole month, and then I think around 200-300 was left. That's for emergency, just in case anything happens.
Did any of you see Logan?
Who's Logan?
Wolverine.
Oh, with the Wolverine. No, I didn't see. Was it good?
Yeah, it was really good.
Okay.
I kind of felt the trailers were a little depressing, so I don't.
The trailer kind of said too much.
Yeah, I thought so.
Because I watched the trailer after I saw the movie, and I was like, I'm so glad I didn't watch the trailer before I saw the movie.
I felt it was very depressing. I don't feel like watching.
Well, I mean, it is sad because it's kind of an ending, but it's a worth the watch.
But he's invincible, so how is there an ending to Invincible?
He's not.
I don't want to spoil it
Oh,
if you're
okay.
gonna watch it.
Alright. He's not technically invincible. What's the deal with him and Sabretooth? Are they brothers?
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for sharing.
So what? Are they like?
Amy?
Do they not have Wolverine anymore in X-Men, or is it like Hugh Jackman?
Again, I don't want to spoil.
Okay, fine.
But that doesn't make any sense. It's like losing Superman.
I know,
Is he in
right?
DC? Is he in DC or
Yeah.
Marvel?
Superman's in DC.
Yeah, who's in Marvel?
Wolverine.
But Marvel
okay.
has been brought over by DC, so now DC controls everything.
Is that right? Doesn't Disney own DC? They
I
do not own
don't
DC,
know.
but they own Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That'd be crazy. If they just had like one big fighter game and they mashed up all the universes together, it'd be so expensive.
I mean, there is like a
So
DC
awesome.
fighting game, Injustice. Like, it's like DC characters can fight each other.
Okay.
Yeah, you've never played it?
Nah,
Oh,
I've
it's
never
so
heard
much
of
fun.
it. DC fights it too.
Like, just other DC characters.
Okay.
Yeah, so like you can be Batman and your friend can be the Joker and you can fight each other.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like Tekken but with comic book characters.
Cool. If you had to compete competitively in any video game, what would it be?
Don't ask me about video games.
What would it be?
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man.
I'm so good at Pac-Man.
Pac-Man is addictive. And it's so
And
frustrating.
Tetris.
Are you good at
I'm
Tetris?
so good at Tetris.
I'm a
I'm
terrible
in Tetris
planner.
too, actually.
Tetris queen.
Really? Like, it's so frustrating. If one block messes up, I'm just like, Are you falling towards video games?
Oh, I know what he's gonna say.
Let me hear it. Come on.
What game are we talking about?
Oh, yeah. Crash knuckles.
Honestly, I used to play video games a bit too much. Like, I was at a point where all I used to do was play video games, and even though I love writing, it came to a point where I would ignore it for a few months because all I was focused on was playing video games. So yeah, pretty
Not to mention the anger issues.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. What video games were you really partial to?
Okay, I guess the one I played most is probably League of Legends. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically it's a 5v5 game online, and it sucks.
Do you play League of
Changed my
Legends?
life. No, but is it similar to Dota?
Yeah, exactly the same.
It's the same thing. Okay.
I mean, okay, there are definitely differences, but same concept, completely same concept.
Okay.
But like, I don't know, when I started playing that game, I used to watch a lot of LCS. Do you know what that is? Basically, it's esports, basically professional players playing, and you watch them play a whole game. And to a lot of people, that sounds completely stupid because who would spend an hour watching a game? But when you're into the game and you actually really enjoy it, that's when you put all your time into watching and trying to play it. But then I stopped because like Luma said before, I had some anger issues. And it was just
So,
Just a small one.
Just a wee little one.
So is LCS related to Twitch? What is
no,
it?
Twitch is a website, which a platform where gamers stream.
Okay.
So anyone can do it, by the way. You can do it as soon as you go home. You just connect, make a Twitch account. If you have the right equipment, you can stream your gameplay. So basically, you're playing and people are watching you play, and then you get donations through Twitch. I've never done that because I don't really like doing that.
Okay.
But like a lot of people do it, and that's how they have income, because they focus on just playing games professionally, and then a lot of people watch them to enjoy it, I guess, and then they donate. That's what Twitch is.
Wow. Fantastic. There was a cool. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to get a thought. All these bricks are distracting me.
I've been looking at those colors for quite a while.
There's a. I completely lost my train of thought. I had no idea what I was going to say. About, there's a YouTuber called PewDiePie.
Yeah.
That apparently got his start from Twitch, if I'm not mistaken, where people were watching him play video games.
Okay,
Perhaps.
I don't know too much about that. I know he does play on Twitch occasionally, but I think the main way he got famous was by uploading gameplay on YouTube.
Okay, so that's something different.
Yeah.
What I wanted to ask you was professional athletes who
Okay.
play video games. Is it a real sport? Are esports a game? Because there's a guy that made like $1 million at a tournament. A young dude too. He was like
Are you
15.
talking about Faker? Yeah, so
Yes.
I know quite a lot of names.
Okay.
Okay, in a sense, I have two different opinions about this. In a sense, it's not a traditional sport because, sports is, movement and all that. But at the same time, they've classified it as esports, which is electronic sports, which I think is completely fine because the way these players play and the way they live their life, to many people it sounds quite ridiculous, but as soon as they wake up, they go to training camps to play games, just to improve their skill. And I don't see the problem in it because there's such a huge audience containing that specific field. For example, I think just from donations alone for the League of Legends tournament, I think it went above a few million, and the winning team gets it. Don't quote me on this because I don't know the specific numbers or whatever, because I'm not really interested in that factor, but I do know that, especially in America, it's a huge market to play games and get sponsors and do competitions.
Alright. When we were driving in today to Silicon Oasis, there's a place called Virtual World, and they have virtual video games. Yeah, maybe you've driven past it perhaps, and that's more of the merging of physical and electronic
VR, virtual reality.
Yeah. Do you foresee a future of that becoming very big?
I mean,
Is laser tag a sport?
Laser tag's fun.
Laser tag is fun.
Yeah.
Laser tag is a sport. Would you watch? I guess, like you said, the money has something to do with whether it can be valued
Yeah,
as a
but
sport.
I read a study once that stated that in about 20 years, playing video games is going to be seen as a legit profession.
Yes.
I can understand that.
there's actually a few colleges now that teach you how to play specific games,
Okay.
which is interesting.
Alright. Not even to design them, you would just play the
Play
games.
games.
How to play, like the tactics. Like remember we were talking about tic-tac-toe?
Yeah.
And how
There's
there's
tactics
so
behind
many moves and tactics.
Right.
Yes, maybe when you study it in that sense, there's a lot more to it than just that meets the eye.
I'm sure there's like a correlation between like game theory and like war theory almost, because you have to have a similar mentality. I mean, you want to join the military, so you would. Wait, where did you join the police come from? What color uniforms, police uniforms are you? Do you go like a dark green or like a navy blue?
Navy blue.
Navy blue? You get a hat as well.
I don't know about that.
really want
I actually
to
wanted to
do
go to the CSI because I was a science student and I
Okay.
love forensic science. So yeah, I had big visions.
Wait, but you're already a published author. Like that's a big accomplishment.
Thank you.
Yeah.